Right, welcome back. We are doing a snowed in special this week, and because we were supposed to be able to do it elsewhere, but you know what, this is kind of exciting because now we're inside the house and not stuck or kicked out into the truck, which is kind of a good thing. So this week, yeah. God, I'm losing my mind. Anyway, this week on Mystic Conversations with Awakening Stoners, I had to actually read that because sometimes I forget what it is.
I forget what it is all the time. It's too much word.
We're going to talk about what the other things that we did not talk about marijuana and
the benefits.
Cannabis and the benefits of cannabis. Especially because I was very grouchy. I kind of am still grouchy.
Yeah.
And
she was very grouchy. No, but she's about to be less grouchy here in a minute because she's like on
I can't wait for this week. Yeah. It's very exciting. Okay, so let's get into this, shall we?
Okay, here. You do the honors.
Okay. Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I see little dots everywhere.
Now you know on my bloopers why I always do that. I'm always like, oh.
Yeah, it's really kind of
yeah, I told you.
bad.
The blooper reel. See? It is not just me. It's not just on the blooper reel. It is for real.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like
we're going to smoke
circle
in the house, which I usually do not do. But for you people, we're doing this. You all right there, Chief?
Amateur hour, once again.
Amateur. Even though I kind of am too. I felt like I was like, just a moment ago, one of those, you know, when you first start smoking, thank God I stopped smoking cigarettes, but you know when you first start. God, it's already hitting me. When you first start smoking cigarettes, you're like trying to be cool, and so you like inhale it, but like you don't really want to inhale it, so you kind of do it just a little bit. I just did that with this because I was like, oh, do I really want to get that stoned because I'm doing this video?
But isn't that the whole point?
Welcome back.
That's the whole point of this, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is. But, you know, I'm not one of those stoners that, like, has to smoke the entire joint. Like, I probably should not smoke the entire joint because it's really bad.
I like my pen.
Okay. I'm going to put this out. And we're going to talk about the stuff we didn't talk about, the benefits of cannabis. Like, growing up here in Colorado. And the snow was a lot like this. Do you remember that? Like going sledding and stuff, like I remember always the snow being like this, and then all of a sudden it stopped doing that, like probably once I got into being a teenager.
Yeah.
And it's not like it didn't snow, it just wasn't like
this
crazy snow, like where you were like trudging through.
Yeah, because Colorado used to be bad for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it kind of calmed down.
Yeah.
So this is where we can talk about my conspiracy on the HARP program.
Oh.
Yeah. So back in, I can't remember, I think it was in New York. I should put links to these videos.
Yeah.
But it was in New York, I think, and then somebody, I want to say it was in Texas too, they had videos all over the place, and they would go outside and get a ball of snow. This was only like a month or two ago, and they would get a ball of snow, and this was during Texas. Oh. And then they would compress it together, and they'd take a lighter.
And it would light on fire.
And it would light on fire, and it was like black.
Yeah.
You remember that? So that's like, I wonder what the hell chemicals are in there. And I know that, so when they do the chemtrails, right, they put chemtrails all into the air, and they put, is it aluminum that goes, yeah, they drop aluminum all into the air. And you got to think what's in these, you can't say the word, because if you say the word, that starts with a, we'll get like booted off of here, so you can't say the word. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Like they're so very sensitive about that. So you can just say you know, whatever you got to say. But so that there's mercury in those, right? And so when mercury and aluminum combine, it's not a good thing. It like explodes, right? Yeah. And it does some not so good things. So like
some not so good things exploding would be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bake, but whatever.
Okay, I'm just I
trying
just
to be a philosophizer.
Philosophizer. Philosophizer.
You remember the movie Zoolander? It's on Zoolander. Oh. The philosophizer. Like, look, I'm stoned, but I'm not that.
Okay, I didn't catch that one there for a minute. I was like,
I know,
holy
right?
shit.
We're always doing movie lines, and she doesn't get this one. Like,
okay,
seriously.
Zoolander is not all that great of a movie.
I mean, you're not completely wrong, but I just wanted
I just
to
want
be
to
the
point
shock
that out.
factor. All right.
Okay.
Some of it is funny, though.
Some of it is very funny,
whatever.
but some of it is really dumb.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go back. So they would go off on tangents. I can't believe that I actually like remember to go back, but they would. They would compress these snowballs, right, and then they'd light them on fire, and they like turned black, and it was like burning plastic, right? So I went outside today, and my husband thinks I'm crazy. You know
went
this.
outside and tested the theory?
I did.
Where was I?
In here talking to people on the telephone.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so I did this experiment just for you, and it melted.
And I was not included.
It totally melted, which sucked, and it didn't turn black. Like, there was a little part of it that kind of turned a color, and I was a little excited.
Are you sure it was white snow or yellow
It
snow?
could have been like my dirt on my hands or something, like, I don't know. It was not yellow snow. This is very fresh snow before the dogs got to it, okay? And this was out front, so we should be golden. Anyway, but the theory is that the HARP program, so they spray this aluminum in the sky, by the planes and stuff, and you could see these chemtrails, right? And they some of them just disappear, and everything's all good, and then others linger in the sky for like hours, and that's not normal, right? Like, it should be, they should be dissipating, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, and then there's this HARP program, and I'm not quite sure, I'm not a scientist on all of this stuff, because I dabble in all of these weird things.
Yes, we know.
I just like researching all kinds of crazy conspiracy shit.
Yes.
I love it. And you know what? Not everything is a conspiracy. Let's just say this, because the Jeffrey Epstein stuff was like, they said that was a conspiracy, and it ended up to be true. And whatever they put on Netflix, they totally washed completely, because
It's not on there anymore?
No, I mean, it's on there, but this is the problem with that. And we got to go back to the chemtrails, because anyway.
Epstein Island.
Epstein Island, yeah. So they just made it seem like, and okay, there's child trafficking going on, okay?
There's been
everywhere.
child trafficking going on for millions of years.
Okay, and so, but there's child trafficking going on, and they are basically on the Netflix show, it was kind of more like washed over it, like it just seemed like, oh, these like 17-year-old girls go down there and they just want modeling careers. No, these are babies, and not by any means is it okay for 17-year-olds to be there. That is not what I mean, because it's totally not. But they forgot the piece that there are so many people on those lists, right? And I mean, a lot of them are in the media and Hollywood and all over the place. And, you know.
And we can't mention any names.
Right. I'm not going to mention any names now, but I mean, you could see those lists, right?
Yeah.
And they totally just played it off like, oh, not a big deal. And then it was like this big thing happened in the last year, and everybody forgot about where the hell the children went. Like,
well, that was not important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that people, though, like the people that are listening to this and the people, you know, they didn't forget. But the problem is the media forgot, okay?
Yeah, because the media only wants to hear what they want to hear. Yeah. And they never, none of that is factual to them.
Yeah.
It's just whatever.
Right? And that's what else always
and they're
drives me
famous.
crazy.
And, you know, famous people wouldn't do that.
Oh, no. I mean, that's the other
all
thing.
All famous people are good.
Right. This is why I don't do this in the house, because everybody's all over the place. Sorry. Yeah, it's fine. My husband's...
Shit downstairs.
Yeah, well, he's working on shit downstairs and...
Shit downstairs.
Yeah. Anyways, he's just trying to drive me nuts is what he's trying to do.
And he's succeeding.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, this is why I smoke weed. And this is again,
one
folks,
of the factors.
This is why we smoke weed.
For a lifelong marriage, smoke weed.
Yes, right? God, we've been married for almost 20 years, right? What were what the hell we were talking about?
Epstein Island.
Epstein Island.
Celebrities, people breaking up.
Oh, have you ever met somebody that is like so upset about like a celebrity or something that you know, you're like, oh, this person was on, you know, this Epstein list, or, you know, you try to have a conversation with people and they get upset like you know them. Like, do you know them? Do you does he call you on the phone? Do you have a dulcet?
Yes.
I mean, it's true. Why are you getting so upset? Not you. I mean, I'm just saying in general.
Some people in general.
Yeah.
They get very upset. But they have some kind of maybe he has like a spiritual bond with these people.
I mean, that's kind of creepy, because if you have a spiritual bond with those people, I mean, they're clearly pretty freaking demonic if they're sex trafficking. Like, now we're just going to get into the demonic side of it. So you just totally, man, this one is going to be Wow, if you guys didn't think that I was crazy before, but I mean, in all fairness, all of my videos, like the ones before, I'm talking about like, you know, and I didn't really want to say it because I wasn't really to that level yet. I was trying to beat around the bush kind of thing. And I told you that, you know, we're going all raw here. It's just, it's over.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, I would be like, there are beings on this planet that aren't really human, and they, you know, they took over. And yes, I was talking about elites, or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's just go into that right away. But they totally took over.
Yeah.
And I happen to think, this is my theory. Okay. Well, it's not really a theory. I've heard it a couple times, but I've always this just makes sense to me. Okay, deep down in my soul. So you know the story of Adam and Eve, right?
Yeah.
And so Adam had a wife before named Lilith, right? Is that the case? Yes.
Yes.
And then Eve, so the story is that they think, and I'm not sure if this, I mean, it totally could be because, like I said, 5D, we're moving into 5D, and 5D is a different perspective, right? An awakening means you're opening up your mind to the possibility that, you know, things are not what we have understood them to be, right? Since we were, I mean, babies, we were taught this crap since we were born. Because there's 13 families, right? And they have certain bloodlines. Okay. Yep. And by the way, before anybody freaks out and thinks that I'm on some crazy movement, which it totally makes sense to me, though, that movement does totally make sense to me, and 100%. However, it was because since I was younger, I have been researching all of these crazy things, right? Yes. And alien, I mean, God, we've known each other since we were 12, 13-ish. Yeah. We always it's somewhere around there.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Adolescence.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I've always researched these things.
Yes.
And
she's always been weird.
Yeah. And, yeah. What'd she say? So, I mean, it just makes sense. In this movement that we're not going to mention the name of, it just kind of put the puzzle pieces together for me. You know what I mean? And it just made me feel like, oh my God, of all the things that I believe, it finally just is coming together, all these missing pieces, you know? So back to Adam and Eve. It's really exciting talking about some of these things.
ADHD, ADD, marijuana. It just makes you talk a lot.
Yeah.
And forget what you're talking about.
Yeah.
See, that's another one of those things, you know what I mean? You can't ever have a real argument with anybody because you never remember what the hell you're talking about. So
right? In that case, nobody fights ever.
Exactly, because you 5 minutes into the conversation,
I think we said that last time, but I mean, that is so true.
These Cheetos, next time I'm bringing some.
Yeah, so
and then
anyway.
you can hear the munching in the microphone the whole time.
Oh my God. Okay, so where were we going? Adam and Eve. God, once again, it's going to take me fucking 20 minutes to say one story. Adam and Eve. Okay, so there's 13 different families. Families of they think they're from a different bloodline, which totally could be open-mindedness, right?
Yep.
And you never know, angels and demons could be aliens, you know what I mean? That's just my theory. But they came, so Eve mated with the serpent, okay? And then that's their bloodline. And I'm sure that it could be probably Lilith and Adam, too. And then there's as within, so without, as above, so below. And Adam is the atoms, you're made up of atoms, right? Yeah. So, the micro and the macro.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then Eve and Adam had the bloodline of the humans. And so the 13 bloodlines that they think that they come from royalty. And so that's where, then that gets into heaven and hell type of stuff. You know what I mean? With Luciferian crap that's totally happening right now, by the way. And you have to understand that these tunnels that they're finding all these children in, right? Who could not portray that as hell? It's underground. Yeah. Like we've been taught in biblical times, right?
Yeah.
And then heaven, they're coming from the heavens. And they even have, in the Bible, they talk about, the fiery wheel. And they've got, depictions or pictures in ancient artwork and stuff that it goes along with, the Bible. And there's alien ships all over the place. So, I mean, come on, what do you, it's just crazy to me. But anyways, the point is not that, I think or you think that, they're not human. They're not human. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I mean, we get the concept.
You know what I The fact is that they think that they are from a different bloodline, and so therefore they get to govern over us. And then there you get your shadow government, and all the crap that's happening right now.
Keyword their government, you know.
Right,
I mean,
totally shadow government. Like I've always known that, and that's why I never got into politics whatsoever. And I don't want to get into it completely here because it's not really about the politics of it. It's about the fact that there's this mainstream media, and they're all just completely cut off from telling the truth because they're owned by these elite people in the corporations, right? Yeah. So, and then, you know,
like the whole thing with the movies, where they portray things in the movies because we've got to get the concept in our head somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it makes it like, okay, it's almost like they don't have to worry about karma because I told you about it. Yeah. You know, you thought I was crazy and it was in the movie, but I totally told you about it. Yeah. So
it's
now,
subliminal.
Yeah. Subliminal
messaging.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, totally. I just burped, hopefully not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If that's what just happened there, I apologize. Anyway. Also, getting back to another thing, because we're all over the place. I'm all over the place. I talk a lot when I'm stoned.
See, and this is why we get stoned.
Exactly. Otherwise, I'm just bitter and walking around here all around.
I can't believe you just admitted that on camera.
I mean, you got to think, like, my family will drive me absolutely bonkers, and this is another benefit of cannabis, right? They'll drive me absolutely crazy, and then I'll just be like, you know what, you're just going to piss me off, no. And I'll go outside, and I'll take, like, one puff off of my vape, and I'll come back in, and I'm like a damn kindergarten teacher, you know? I'm like, I'm so sorry that mommy got angry. Let's talk about this rationally. Or let's play a game. You know what? Let's do some artwork. You know, like, so much better. So much better. It makes me, like, such a better mom. It just does. So it makes me a better person.
Yeah, because you were really grumpy at the start of this.
I apologize.
Until she burped into the mic, and now she's all better.
I know. And I just really went off on a tangent about the Illuminati and Cabal, or whatever you want to call them. But I just think, and I have my, it's really exciting. What do you want from me? I get really excited about it. I have my Telegram, right? And my Telegram, oh my God, I'm always asked this one. I'm always sending stuff on Telegram. Like all these research and stuff that I do now. Also, I think it's very important that everybody do their own research. And this is the research that I was talking about when Giovanni was sick.
Yes.
And,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah, he wasn't really sick, but you never know. I still think to this day that he, like, there were, so I told you that on the very first one, so for reference, but I thought that, and they told me when he was born, it was like 3 weeks after he was born, and they did blood work, and they were like, you know, Giovanni has cystic fibrosis.
Yeah,
I lost it.
I remember.
Yeah, because one of my best friends growing up, from when I was, you know, I don't know, 2 or 3 until I was probably 7 or 8, was this boy named Nathan. And his parents and my parents were really good friends. And he had cystic fibrosis, and he passed away when he was like 17.
Yeah.
16? No, I think he was 16. And like I hadn't seen him after that because we moved to Colorado, and they were from Iowa. But anyway, so I had this thing in my head that like, oh no, you know, it was basically, to me, it was like a death sentence. But this is like, it was like this hope that kind of came in because they gave me, you know, they gave us the diagnosis. It was the 2 DNA strands, you know, in their genes, and told me like, you know, he has this. There's no way that you can, you know, and no way that he can not have it. Like we have the blood work. It's just it's over. We're doing this. Yeah. So anyway, when I heard that news, I just like lost my mind, and I would sit there. We would have to go to Denver, which is about an hour away, to Children's Hospital, and I would sit there and nurse him in the middle of the night, and I couldn't sleep. And I would stay at my mom's house, by the way, because she lived at the time in Denver. So I would drive up there and stay for the night or whatever. Gio, look, now he's a rambunctious, driving me nuts. So just, you know, precursor to the end of the story, it turns out really well.
Yeah.
He's just fine. Anyway, I would sit there and nurse him and just rock back and forth and just cry and be like, please don't die. Like it was like my worst nightmare come true. And that's when I had to take my mind off of things, and I started doing research on my phone.
Yep.
And I mean, clearly I was always talking about these things before, but I really went deep down the rabbit hole when I was nursing him because it was like trauma. See, like trauma just, it helps you, it like catapults you into the awakening.
Yeah.
And I would just sit there and rock back and forth and just cry. So I was like, you know what, I've got to focus my mind on something else. And I started researching all of these things, and it was just like, wow, this is actually, and it all started to tie together. And then just recently for this, maybe the last 2 or 3 years, it all kind of came back. And I, before I was like doing all this meditation and doing all this, all these great things. And I was kind of getting in touch with who I was. Mm-hmm. And then this just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I couldn't handle it anymore. And that's when I started to feel sick, and I was like, oh my God, and dizzy. And then lo and behold, I found out through my own having to go through that crazy shit that those are awakening symptoms. And I was like thinking that I was going to lose my damn mind. Anyway, I did lose my mind because I totally forgot that we were talking about Giovanni. I was telling you that story. Kind of went in together. See how this happens? Anyway, Giovanni, my husband kept saying, no, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have cystic fibrosis. And I started to kind of more so like believe him. I was like, okay, you know what? He doesn't. Like, he's not showing symptoms. He's just fine. And he showed a couple of symptoms, but it was like he was really decently pretty healthy. And so at 5 months, after 5 months of doing this hell, thinking my kid, but I kind of, like I said, I kind of slowly, and I went down the rabbit hole, and so that was all good. But my husband talked to the pediatrician at Children's, who was a really good guy, and he was pretty new. And I think he was like in his last year of residency, and he was like, you know what? None of the other doctors would retest Giovanni because it's pointless, But he's like, I'm going to do this thing called the sweat test, and that's the other, clearly we've got the blood work, and then the sweat test is like the all-time, it'll tell you if they've got it or they don't. And we did the sweat test, and then he called back at when Giovanni was 5 months old, and the doctor was like, put your husband on the phone. So Anthony gets on the phone, and I have it on speaker, and we're like, yeah. And he goes, I just wanted to tell you both that Giovanni, you were right, and Giovanni is only a carrier of cystic fibrosis. Now, apparently, we haven't gone back and done the blood work, but he is almost 10 years old. No way that kid's got it. He's totally 100% fine. Carrier, yes, but I really feel like there's some new technologies that are going to come out that, that are going to eradicate a shit ton, because, once again, on my craziness, there is totally technology that's been suppressed, completely suppressed. Yeah. And, there's technologies that can heal all of these, these diseases. Mm-hmm. And you got to think, for years, people have been killed for it. Yeah. They came out with, the Gerson therapy. Yep. And then Dr. Gerson was killed, Yeah. And they're like, oh, he died. I can't remember how they said he died. It was of cancer or something, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, whatever. He found one of the cures, because I think there's more. And it was through food, Yeah. And in organic juicing and, so healing. And so, of course, Big Pharma couldn't make any money off of that. And so I'm surprised that Cannabis. You said that.
I thought you said cannibals for a minute.
No, I meant cannabis.
You like to talk about people eating
people. There's that. We'll save that for a totally different. That's part of this whole fucking sex cult weird shit going on. But we're not going to talk about that tonight.
Yeah, we did that in the last episode.
We didn't talk about cannibalism, did
Yes,
we?
we did. You were talking about that lady who was sleepwalking on bath salts.
Yeah, but that wasn't really the crazy cannibalism. That was. But that was I couldn't figure out if that was a dream or not.
Opening to the rabbit hole of that whole thing. I'm just saying.
Sorry. Okay, I've really talked a lot. What would you like to talk about?
No, I just go off your rants. That's what I do.
You're like my guest man. You're the guest girl.
I'm the guest girl?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, what she said,
Yeah, that's what she said.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have incredible cotton mouth.
Yeah. Well, that's... And you're just smoking your vape, too?
Well...
Yikes. Well,
yeah.
We're alive right now, and we're having a great old time because...
And we're not going anywhere for a couple days.
No.
So
it's kind of nice.
Tomorrow we're going to eat the dogs.
No, we're not. Not my Boshi.
She
we're
goes
not.
first.
We're talking about cannibalism, but I mean that's not cannibalism. But they're kind of like family members. Like you can't.
We can't just
No,
eat them. I mean,
we're not
the
just gonna eat.
circumstances get difficult.
I'll eat the fish before I.
Norman?
His name is not Norman. It's Scuba Steve.
His name is Norman.
Oh my God.
Norman.
Scuba Steve. Anyway. Oh man, and so one of the things that cannabis takes care of is
not eating your pets.
I mean, I was going to say ADHD and ADD. But right now it doesn't look like it.
I think we covered that with what I said.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the strain, and clearly this is not the one for me that is going to keep me calm. No, but I really think it's more the subject than anything.
Yeah.
You know, the subject, I could talk about this subject for hours and hours and hours,
yes.
and I'd be very happy.
Yes, you would.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just sitting here. My mouth won't stop moving, but
Woosah.
Woos brava. Yeah. But it does help declassify the pineal gland. And
yes,
that is your third eye.
Yes.
And so no wonder why cannabis was suppressed for a very, very, very long time, because it does help. It cures some things. And who knows, maybe like if they weren't putting a bunch of crap in the soil.
Let's put it this way. But how many people have you heard about that have gotten into violent or offbeat trouble smoking cannabis?
Yeah.
How many of them do you see, fucking up doing meth or cocaine or heroin? Well, heroin, I don't know, because you just pass out all the time, I think. But, like, you don't ever hear of somebody committing a crime when they're stoned.
No, God, no. So it's also, cannabis is 6,000 years old, over 6,000 years old. And it's the oldest cultivated crop by humans. Did you know that?
I would have thought cocaine, but...
Ew. Yeah. That shit always scared me. Like, growing up, I was always like...
But I would have thought that came before.
Do you remember the DARE program? Oh, man.
What is it? Oh, my God. Something against... I was a graduate, too.
DARE to keep kids off drugs, but I can't remember what the hell. DARE. What the hell does DARE stand for?
Drug Abuse Resistance
Program.
Thank you.
Education.
Yeah, because
not
it's
program. Wow.
But hey, I was close.
Yeah, you listened to me on that one.
The what?
What? Awareness. Drug awareness.
I don't remember now. I graduated, though, with honors.
From DARE?
Yes.
How do you graduate with honors from DARE?
I don't know about honors, but I graduated.
First of all, the reason why I brought it up in general was because I always thought that I would be one of those people, after watching all those DARE program things, that I would, like, if I were to try, like, cocaine or something, I would be, like, hunched over in a corner, like, rocking back and forth, about ready to have a heart attack, like, so I never, like, I was like, hell no. And I was not really into alcohol. Nope. Never tried anything else. There was...
Me neither.
Yeah, right. I think we just went over what you did in your last video on this, and that's why you're here, right? Like, that is why you're in this place with cannabis, because you got to, like, run it out.
I was just talking about this today with your husband, actually, that I have come to the conclusion that, I mean, I've tried many drugs, pretty much all of them, except for mushrooms, because they scare me, and acid.
That's the other one that I've done, is mushrooms.
Those two scare the shit out of me. But I was talking with her husband today about the fact that I have come to the realization that out of all the drugs I've done, which I've done pretty much all of them, that weed is the only one that's kept me sane, and that I need to be on some kind of substance for the rest of my life because of that fact. And weed is the safest choice.
Yeah, I can't, that sounds like I'm such an old, I can't be on weed. What are you, smoking the pot?
Snorting some weed?
Yeah, snorting some weed. Yeah, I can't do it all the time, and because
what all the time? Weed?
Yeah, do
that's
weed.
A lie. You do too.
All the time?
Yes, all the time.
I'm not stoned 24/7.
Really?
No.
No?
Definitely not.
And that was her husband in the corner making a very happy face.
Oh,
yeah,
my
she's
goodness.
full of shit. She's high all the time.
Okay, not 24/7.
Yes.
Now. Okay, listen. These guys are such liars, and now they're just trying to get me in trouble.
No, we start smoking in the morning when we get up.
Oh, hell
and
no.
And we smoke all day. Yes.
No.
We do. Okay,
no.
I do.
Okay, that's definitely not me. Negative. Because otherwise I wouldn't be grouchy.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
No.
You don't smoke weed in the morning when you're in the bathtub.
Once in a great while, but no, not all the time. I really don't. Like, not all the time. I could, like, have it in my little basket that I bring everywhere, but I have a basket. God, I'm getting old. This is absolutely ridiculous. Anywho. Anyway, God. Just bringing out all the... bringing all the bad in me. Okay.
2 or 3 times a day.
Let's
not joke here, okay?
I love my
And
bath.
she's got her little vape in the bathroom, and there's only one bathroom on our main floor, so we all share the bathroom. So she's in there for hours at a time.
Except for my husband is making another one downstairs.
Yes,
yeah, but that's what he's doing right now, and he's eavesdropping on me.
Every time I go in that bathroom, she asks me if I want a little puffy, and this is in the morning time.
Yeah, I ask you if you need a little puffy, but it's because I have it sitting in the basket. It doesn't mean that. Just because I have it with me doesn't mean that I'm puffing on it all day long. That sounded really wrong, but that sounded like I do, but really not. It's a basket. I bring it in a little basket because I like to take baths all day. Anyway, who gives a shit? Whatever. You're totally going off tangent right now. You are. Anyways, okay, so what we were getting into with this weed and spirituality I was going to talk about is how I felt like I was going crazy with this whole awakening thing, and I hadn't smoked weed for because I wasn't really into it, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like I was going crazy, and I was always getting like these dizzy feelings, and I felt like my head was like, it was almost like, this sounds really funny, but it was like my head was full of cotton, like not just cloudy thinking, but like I could feel it almost like massaging my brain. Like, it was the weirdest feeling ever. And I couldn't make that go away. And it was freaking me out. And I would get really dizzy and have these spells where I'd get like vertigo, and I'd have to run out to the grass and like grab onto the lawn, and just sit there for a while and ground myself. And so when I smoke weed, it makes me feel like I have something to blame. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, oh my God, because I feel like I'm stoned 24/7. Yeah.
But she doesn't smoke all day.
No, I feel like I'm stoned all the fucking time. No, seriously. Like, yes, I know. But on a serious note, that's why I smoked it, because I felt like that all the time.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm not really stoned all the fucking time, but I feel like it all the fucking time. And so when look at her still trying to get me in trouble. Oh, look, I'm not trying to deny it. Yes, they all know I smoke weed. They just saw me smoke a damn joint. But, yeah, it just made me feel normal. Mm-hmm. I'm really not normal.
I love you, though. You're special.
You're special. God, this one is really going to go down in the history books, isn't it? God, people are going to be like, okay, I don't even know if I want to put this up.
People are going to be like, God, this is the reason why we don't talk to them anymore.
Oh, my goodness. I know. It's so sad. But, so exciting at the same time. Yeah. So I'm to the point now where I don't care about all of my conspiracy theories and all of my weird things. You know what? I am who I am, right? Yeah. I am who I am.
Yep, absolutely.
Isn't that Popeye?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. Something like that. But who cares? Who cares if everybody thinks that I'm completely insane? Because... watch.
Yeah, we're going to be the ones that, like... We're getting to the point now where everybody else is starting to see it, too. Like, people are like, wait a minute. Like,
Yeah.
Like, all the things that are going on in the media and all this...
Slowly coming out, seeping out.
Sex trafficking and tunnels and just everything that's going on right now in the world is just insane.
Yeah. But kind of exciting. But, I mean... You got to think, like, all of these things have been in ancient writings for a very, very long time. Yeah. Like the Mayans and the Christian, the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita. And, I mean, so many very well-known, religious texts have depicted what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And, to all the people that think that we're crazy, I say... You're crazy. You're crazy because you're not seeing this as, what the ancients have talked about for years. And so people that are like that should be wearing the tinfoil hats.
No, I think we covered a lot of interesting topics tonight.
Yeah.
The Epstein Island, that one's really hitting home with me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel when you heard about some of that stuff?
It's mind-blowing. I mean, this has been going on for so long, but everybody just wants to sweep it under the rug like it's not happening. And this is making all of that come out.
Yeah, so it's like a good thing.
Yeah.
But
not
I mean,
per se a good thing. But,
exactly. That's I was getting to that. Like, but it's a good thing that we are finally opening up our consciousness to the point where we can see it so that we can stop it.
Yeah.
Because that is so not the way that we need to live. That's like in our souls. That's why I'm like, maybe, and this is why I'm like, maybe there really is these different bloodlines. Because I know that the people that I hang with, right, and the people that I know are very loving. Like they don't have a bone in their body that would ever hurt a child.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Or do some of the things that is happening in these like Luciferian, cults.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes me think like, maybe they are a totally different bloodline or a different, like they're not human.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're not human. So that, what they believe, it kind of, it does make sense. Maybe it's not the exact way that it actually happened or, whatever, but I'm just like, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And come on, you really think that, source, I call it source energy, people call it God, whatever you want to call it, is not a problem, but, the creator, I think we are all creators and we're all sparks of God, right? But do you really, to me, it's like ignorant to think that he would just be like, oh, the rest of the sky, just light it up, just put some pretty bright lights out there for him. Like what?
Yeah.
That's such a crock.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about this? There is a new branch of the Navy, and it's called Space Force. Do you know this? Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Like, that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
And it's got like the Star Trek symbol.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. So I'm like, see, once again, they put shit in movies and shows.
So we already have a preconception of what it is because it's nothing weird because we've seen it.
We've seen it.
It's been put into our head before in a different form.
Uh-huh. And so now, people can laugh and think it's like, oh my God, they're just trying to be this weird Star Trek. But in 10 years, people are going to be so used to it. Look at what happened to that. We can't say that word either, but you know what I mean? Now it's this normal thing.
Yeah.
Like that's normal. It's like a piece of clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's just crazy to me. And I know that there are different reasons. I get like people that are sick, or people that have like diseases right now that are trying to fight off something like immune issues. But for healthy people, to me, that's like, no, I'm not okay with that. I'm just not. And, shocked as you may be, everyone on here, that freaks me out that that's starting to be normalized. And as this one, I don't wear it at all.
I have to wear it at work all day long, so I'm a little more, what do you want to say, broken. Like it doesn't,
but you're just used to it, but that's the sad part, right?
Yeah, but I'm not going to lie, I have worn mine underneath here this entire time.
Yeah.
Entire time. Yeah. And I have been essential through this entire pandemic, and
you're fine.
Just sitting here smoking some weed.
Just sitting here smoking some weed. Well, you have to think too, like, how do babies introduce bacteria and things into their immune system so that their immune system can learn what to do?
Yes.
Like, screw all these, like that's the real immunity right there, right? Like you're putting it into your system. Your own body is teaching itself how to do that. And that's what babies do.
Yes.
So like to wear those all day long when you're breathing in, like it's excrement. And this is the other thing. God, I'm going to get so much shit for this, but I just don't care. Like, this is just how it is. What is the one thing that you need to connect you with God, with Source, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yogis talk about it all the time. Yep. I know when we're doing meditation, it's breath. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you're attached to Source, right, through breath and taking big breaths. And, and so I'm like, what are you doing when you're covering that? And now they're like, oh, where to? What? Like, seriously.
Or wear them when you shower.
Yeah, when you shower. Please tell me that somebody doesn't actually think that. I've never heard that one. Well, I think Ariana was telling us something about.
We were talking about that earlier today, yeah. That
and I don't know if that
you
story's
to wear
right.
masks. If you're going to a workout facility and you're going to shower at the gym, you should wear a mask.
2 of them, or just 1?
I don't remember if it was 1 or 2, but whatever the
Like,
fuck the number is, that's ridiculous.
If you're that afraid,
then you shouldn't be at a gym in the first place.
Yeah, like, right? Those, I mean, yes, there's going to be bacteria and stinkiness and, you know, sweat just flying everywhere. That's kind of normal, but I mean.
But just like everywhere else.
Yeah, right.
Do they tell you to shower after you go eat?
Yeah, right.
Like, you went out in public and you sat at a table that is not yours. You need to go home and cleanse yourself with a mask.
You need to cleanse yourself.
Cleanse
Freaks
your
me
soul.
out, man. And, you know, and there, like I said, I don't want to bag on everybody because there are certain reasons why you should, like, you know, if somebody is trying to fight. But once again, if you're, like, you know, in that position, you probably won't be out a lot in the first place.
Exactly.
Or you could get, like, there's deliveries and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
so I'm not against
I know
that.
about them deliveries.
But to have healthy people walking around like that is like, that's not smart.
No.
That's just, it doesn't sound smart to me. And this is just, you know, my intuition, and when I do meditations and connect with my higher self, these are the things that, you know, that you should be asking and talking to your higher self about.
Yeah.
You know, and mine's telling me, cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Texas thought so too.
Yeah, right. And Mississippi.
And Mississippi.
And I think there are a few others. And I heard that on March 20th, people are going to do this huge, like, all around the globe. And I'll have to look into that.
What is that called again?
I can't remember what it's called, but
it's a protest, right?
Yeah, it's like a peaceful. It's like a peaceful. Like, people are just going to walk out and just be done with the masks. And
yeah, like flash mobs, you know, like, but positive thing.
Yeah, positive
flash mobs.
Positive flash mobs.
There's such a thing, no?
Oh yeah.
I mean, flash mobs are positive things. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you dancing, you just having fun, you know. I mean,
dancing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So,
yeah. So on the 20th, look at us.
Yeah.
Now
we
we're
need to
starting
do some research on that.
Yeah, I do. And I will let you know. But until then, I have my Telegram page. So if you want to go to Mystic Medium on my Telegram, find me anyways. And it's got the same little picture. And
of her with her basket with her vape in it.
That is not. God, this is going to be forever the joke. Like, Jamie, you're just stoned 24/7. If I do anything, they're going to be like, you're stoned, aren't you? No!
They're going to ask her about her basket.
Ask me about my... Never mind. I'm not going to finish that one because it's a really, really bad movie. But anyway, yeah, I think
I'm going to make stickers for the back of your truck and say "Basket Lady."
Basket case. Basket case. I should make a shirt that says that. I really want to get a shirt that says "I see dead people."
Great.
Well, I mean, I do. Yes. Too much weed. Too much weed.
No, you're going to scare people away from weed.
Oh, my God. Look, everybody knows this. And you know what? Guaranteed that everybody that is watching this right now is a stoner.
Well, I would hope so, because I'd hate for somebody to watch this sober.
That'd be pretty bad. So anyway, all right. We should let everybody go. So, yeah, welcome to your ascension, creators. And, well, I have to read this once again because I always forget. And I'll get, you know, it's my show. So it's fine. I'll figure that out. Mystic Conversations with Awakening Stoners. Have a good night.
Good night.